How does one create an international award-winning painting? Danged if I know, but I do have some ideas that can set your feet on the path in the right direction. This is my 3 on a match. I started with a photograph. I love the juxtaposition of organic elements against the man-made elements. I eliminated the bright steeple, that birch tree, and the roof, and focused on just the elements I wanted. Then I created a sketch. The sketch helps me plan my overall design and where I'm going to put detailed elements. I then prepare my substrate, my surface. Here I'm using gator board, and I didn't care that I kind of used it before and had other things on it because I'm painting over it. I am adding a liquid coating, basically a paint of a combination of a little water, some golden high flow acrylic burnt sienna, and a Liquitex acrylic iridescent white. That's just going to add a little glisten and sparkle way in the background and help the light to bounce around inside my painting. For this painting, I wanted some interesting textures. I want those brush strokes to show. I want it to be raised slightly so as I bring the pastel across it, it'll catch and bring just interest into this painting. For me, that's one of the elements of magic. Something that's even a little unexpected for me, the artist. And those textured brush strokes are one thing that will do that. My next 2 steps bring even more texture in. I'm finishing up the brush strokes, and then I add some alcohol. I just splash it on to create these interesting textures. And here is some powdered pigment, just leftover pigment that I grind up from other paintings. And I'm putting it in the design of the clouds and the distant trees that I want a little bit darker. I then bring in a brush with a little bit of alcohol. I wipe, I lift, I put more in to create more texture. This is so much fun. And here is a close-up of some of those textures that happen. In my next step, I bring out my pan pastels. I like the colors in this collection I have, and normally I use it as an underpainting. But here, I'm using the pan pastels to help define the gentle tones and hues of this painting. I want some subtle changes at this point. The sky behind, the clouds coming over, the trees and the clouds. Where does one start? Where does the other end? Does it really matter? If you've been following me at all, you know I'm the great experimenter. I love trying out new things. Finally here, I'm actually using some sticks, some pastel sticks, to help really define my lights and darks, start to give the whole painting its final textures, its final form, the values that I'm looking for, the light, the color. I start pulling it all together. So far, I'm liking it pretty well, bringing in a little more blues, and then I use a little bit of Spectrafix. And what I'm doing this for is to add a little texture, not as a fixative, but for more texture. Then let it dry. Now I really analyze it at this point. I step back, I'll take a picture, I'll put it in Procreate to play with the lights and the hues, the color and the shapes before I add in the details. Because these details are so tiny, I have to make them very sharp and not mess them up. I'll turn it upside down to make the curve of the lines. I'll use the edge of a hard pastel or the end of a pencil. I'll do whatever it takes to create what I want. I started seeing the combination and the connection between these poles and these wires, and I really enjoyed it. And it seems others liked it as well. The judge in this show chose it as 3rd best in the exhibit of an international show with artists all over the States, Taiwan, China, and Canada. I was thrilled. And you know what? That is the reason I think why it works so well. Because I painted it for me, something that was in my spirit, my energy to paint, and not to please other people. That, to me, is a huge secret. Paint from your own self, your true self, your energy, and who knows, it's not a guarantee, but you can find some amazing things happen. So keep creating, keep painting, please subscribe, and ring my bell below.